Welcome back to Liferay. In this video, I will show you the first part of content management system demonstration, and I will talk about page and content creation, content template, localization, and workflow. So the first thing I will do here, I'm gonna log in as Richard, and if you remember from the first video, Richard is my uh, marketing associate, so he actually has access to create new pages, add new content. Some of them doesn't need approval from his manager, and some of them need approval. So in this demo, we'll see how he can add content without approval and other content that needs to go through an approval cycle from his manager. Right, so the first request he got to add a new page to the public site and name this page as download, and also he was asked to do a translation for the content in this page so that if someone opened this page from a French browser, he's gonna see the content translated, and if he open it from an English browser, he's gonna see the English translation. So what I'm gonna do here, I'm going to the left panel control, and as you can see here, Richard doesn't have all the controls that Bruno has, and the reason for that, he is just a marketing associate, he's not an administrator, and all the tasks that he can do is just create new pages and add content to them. So he's gonna go to the public pages, and he's gonna add a new public page, and here he's gonna name his page as download. And as you can see here, also those flag presents the enabled languages that Liferay has out of the box. Those are just the languages that I enabled for this demo, but in Liferay we have over 44 language. So most probably the language that you're looking for, you're gonna find Liferay supported natively. So as you can see here, I add the page title in English as download. I'm also gonna click on the French flag because I'm gonna translate this page to French. So I'm going to add the French translation, which is télécharger. Right, so now if someone open this page in an English browser, he's gonna see download. Is open it on French browser, is gonna be télécharger. The second step Reacher need to do is to define the layout of the page. So for demo purpose, I'm gonna just show the one column, but those are out of the box layout. We have either one column, two column, different layout for three columns. You can also integrate your own layout. So what I did here, I add a new layout for one row that has one column and the second row has three columns. So you basically, any use case you want, you can actually create it and add it on Liferay. So I'm gonna choose now the one column layout and click add page. And as you can see here, the page got added inside and Liferay navigation. The good thing also, a lot of features in Liferay is just drag and drop. So let's say I want the download page before the content us page. So as you can see here, I'm sorry, before the resources page. So as you can see here, if I refresh my pages, I'm gonna see the download page came before the resources pages. So just drag and drop pages. That's how it works in Liferay. I'm gonna close the left navigation tab and I will open the right navigation tab. So here is all the application that comes with Liferay out of the box. So in Liferay there is over 75 plus out of the box application, from wiki, discussion, blogs, event, calendars. We're gonna cover some of them in this videos, but there are over 75 plus application. Also, any application you install from Liferay Marketplace, or you customize, like you build an application customized in your local environment, as I did here, and integrate with Amazon. Once I add my application to Liferay, it will be available under this tab, so you can drag and drop and add it to your page. So for now, I'm going to add, since I'm demonstrating the web content management, I will add a web content display. So here I have the web content display. I can drag and drop and add this to my page. And by doing this, I'm now ready to start adding content to this page, right? So I can close the top navigation, and as I'm ready to start adding some content here. So I click the add button, and I will start with something very basic, and we'll see the next step, how I can use content template to add very rich content without writing any line of code. So I'm gonna click on basic web content, and I will name the page as download link. And here I'm ready to start adding my content. So as you can see here, this is a WYSIWYG editor, but it's different than any other WYSIWYG editor you see from a content management tool. And the reason for that, we don't want to show all the controls all the time to the user. We just want to show them whenever they need them. So let me show you how that works. So let's say I want to add here, welcome to my welcome to download page, right? So I add welcome to download page. Now I need to make this bold, so I can highlight this, and by default Liferay will show me the controls that I have permission to, and I can use it for that content. It's not going to show me a pop-up window for adding windows, because I don't need to add adding image, because I don't need to add an image here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to make this bold, and then I'm going to click enter. When I click that button here, it shows me other controls. One of them is to add an image. So now I want to add an image with links to to Liferay DXP download. So I have this image under this folder. So that's access to our document repository. I have all the images already uploaded there. So during the document management system, we're gonna see how I can allow marketing people to collaborate over an image uploaded, and how this image can go through a workflow. Now I have the image. Since Richard has control to edit this image, so before he uploading it, he can edit this image. So he can come here and just change the colors. He can actually resize it, crop, rotate it, so he can actually do a lot of controls and image editing before upload it to the content. Just for demo purpose, I'm not going to edit anything, and I will add this image. So I just added this image here and my page. The other option we do have is for developer. If they want to see the code of this page, they can click on that button, and here it shows them the code of this page. The other also good option, that I can actually maximize the screen, and now I can see how my code looks like, and how once I run it on a page it will look like. So in Liferay, you don't need to publish a page to view how it looks like. It's gonna be immediately once you write any code, you're gonna see exactly how it's gonna look like on a site. So let's say I want to centralize this content, so I can just add here some code, write dev style equal texts align center, and now I'm gonna add the other dev on the button here. So by doing this, as you can see, everything got centralized. I can also change colors, change anything. So if I came to the bold part here and wrote, for example, style equal color red. So as you can see, immediately got reflected and changed the color red. If I add green, immediately got changed to green. So in this part, you can actually write any code, HTML, CSS, JavaScript. I actually was able to write a complete application, JavaScript application that calls APIs from the back end here, and I can see immediately how this application looks like on the other side. So it's not just for adding static content. You can actually add dynamic content using JavaScript and backend. And of course, this is not for business user. This is more for developer. The next step is going to be more for business user when they are going to use content templates. So I'm gonna click done here, and now I finish my content. Before I publish this content, I need to go through different options here. So the first option I would like to go through is the tag. So I can tag any link here, so that whenever I do a search, I can easily find my content. So I'm going to write here download. So anyone search with download or Liferay DXP, he's gonna actually get access to this content, so he can download this page. So you can tag the content with anything you think people will search for to reach this content, right? The other options we have is the schedule, and this is a very good option. So think about you want to publish a page to be visible on a day that you are on vacation, or you are or a weekend day, so you don't really need to work on your days off. what you can do is Liferay. You can do the work day before, week before, month before, anytime, and then you can define the display date. So you can say, I want this content to be published on my site at that date. And also you can define the expiration date. So I want it to be published at that date and also expired at the other date. The other also nice option is the review date. So think about, you have a big internet site with hundreds of pages, thousands of contents, and you want to keep track for your contents to make sure you don't have old content on your sites. So you can add a review date. Let's say you add this content and you need to review it in a year or so. So after 1 year, you're going to receive a notification on your phone, on your email, and on your website saying that this content is going to get archived very soon. You may need to review it. Either you keep it on the site or you just replace it, right? Other than the content, we have the display page, and that's also a nice option if you want to publish content on multiple pages. So think about one content need to be published on 100 page. You don't want to drag and drop content on 100 page. Just highlight the pages you want here, and then Liferay would take care of publishing this content on those pages. Right. Also, we do have a related assets, and that option is very nice when you want to relate asset in Liferay. So think about in my download announcement that I did here, I want to link this download announcement to a PDF in my document repository that describe more details about what people going to download. So you define your PDF and then you add it to your document repository. And what you can do here, you can come and say, I need to relate this download link with whatever I have in my document repository. So once you do that link, what happened is Liferay will link this announcement to this document. And when someone see this announcement about the download, he can actually see the link for PDF for more details. And basically, it's not just between web content and documents. You can relate any asset to any asset. So content to blogs, wiki, discussion, forums, event, calendar event, anything. All right. The other good option about related asset is that you teach the search engine for what asset related together. So Liferay comes pre-integrated with Elasticsearch, and Elasticsearch use machine learning. And if you guys are not aware about machine learning, it's basically you by your search, you're teaching the search engine for what result need to be shown. So it's exactly the same way as Google. So Google when they show you any results, it's actually based on previous people did the search and they clicked on the link based on that search. So Google knows that this search is actually what this link is what people look for whenever they do that kind of search. So the same thing with Liferay. You teach your search engine what exactly you want to show when someone search with a specific words, right? So the related asset, just to summarize this, you can relate any asset to any asset. Also, you can teach your search engine to have better results to the other user who's gonna do this search and this search over this content. Right? So I finish adding the content. I hit the publish button. Now I have the content got released. Now I just don't like to have the content title on the top here, so I can change this. So I can go to the look and feel, and I can say I don't want to show this, so I'm gonna change the look and feel. And now by doing this, now I went to the download. So now actually this is show with the background blue, which has come with the page. So the other option that I would like to show to you is that sometimes developer give business user access to change some of the look and feel at runtime. Okay, so let's say in your old pages you have the background as blue. Maybe certain pages, as in my example here, I need the background to be white because my application has a lot of words, and I was white is gonna be shown much better. Sometime I need to show the top header all the time. So developers, when they create this theme, they can actually give the business user access to control this small behavior. So for example, Bruno, when they show this, maybe he got a request to, in this specific page, they need the header to be all the time shown. It's not, the user doesn't really need to go to the to click on the logo to show the header. So to do this, Reacher can go to the configuration of this specific page. They go to the look and feel, and they can say, I want to define this page to have a different look and feel than the rest of the site. And here, for example, I don't want the header to be to move. I want it to be fixed. So I'm gonna choose fix header yes. And by doing this, click save. The header will be shown all the time. So I cannot actually remove the header. Sorry, get back to the download page. So now the header will be shown all the time, right? I'm going back to the configuration, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna change the layout again, put it one column, and what I will do, I will actually make the background of the page as white so I can show the content much better. So I can come here, I can write background color white. So the white, I guess it's FFF. And just by doing this under the body and just click save, now as you can see, now it looks exactly as I want. So Richard, as a marketing, they can have access to small parameters over the page. They can make different pages act differently than the rest of the pages by just drag and drop and changing some small variables. So Richard add the content, and now the next step, he needs to translate this content so people who open this browser on a French browser, they can see the French translation. So what he can do, he can go to the edit web content, and now he will click add translation and go to the French, and now he's ready to add the French translation. So I'm gonna add here the French translation for this. So I'm gonna add bienvenue sur la page de téléchargement, right? And here I don't want to show the English image, so I'm gonna just delete this one. I'm gonna add another image I have in my document repository, and here I have the French page. Click add. So now I completely added my translation, and now I'll hit publish. So now I have the French translation. Just for demo purpose, I'm gonna add a small portlet on this page that can move the language of the browser between English to French. Usually in the real case scenario, you don't do this. You may allow the user from his profile to choose the language, or you may allow Liferay to detect the language of the browser and show the language based on the language of the browser. So what I'm gonna do here, I have an application to change languages, and just this is just for demo purposes. So it's called flag. I'm sorry, it's language, and I'm gonna drag and drop and add this on the top here. And this is basically just changing the language of the browser. So as you can see here, it's the page is in English, so I'm gonna click on the French flag, and as you can see, immediately Liferay changed the header of the page, changed the content to French, and even the default feature of Liferay got translated to French, as you can see here. So you don't need to translate the default feature of Liferay, but any content you add, you will need to do translation for this content. Right? Let me remove this. So first I'm gonna just change to English, and then I'm gonna remove this flag. And now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna actually talk about content templates. So think about a use case where you want your business user, someone like Richard, to add a very rich content that have some JavaScript on the background, some nice graph, as I will do now, and Richard doesn't know how to write JavaScript. So you can make developers create template for Richard, and Richard can use this template. By the end of this video, I'll show how you can create this template, but for now, I'm gonna use a pre-created template and show you how easy Richard can just fill some fields, and a template will make this content looks the way the template works. So I'm gonna add a new web content to this page, and I'm just gonna drag it under first content. And now in this content, I'm gonna add a content template. And here I have access to certain templates, not all of them. So Richard, since he's an associate marketing, he doesn't have access to all the templates. I give him just access to those one. So I'm gonna click on content to graph. So he got asked to add a graph and a download page to show what's the download, the number of downloads of Liferay from different countries, right? So he's gonna add download chart. He's gonna name it download chart. Sorry. Okay, and here he's gonna choose. So here, as you can see, there is no more WYSIWYG editor. Even if I add any content here, there is no pop-up, because here you're not allowed to change any look and feel, adding any code or anything. You just have to fill the fields that comes from the template. So the fields that come from the template is, first you can choose the graph type. Second, you add the slice name. So I'm gonna add different countries. Let's say USA 10,000 times. And then I can add more slides here by adding that button. Here I can add Europe 5,000 times, and then I can add another graph and say Asia, let's say 4,000 times, right? So this is just the part that comes from the template. The rest of the web content creation process is the same, from tagging, schedule, display page, everything is the same, right? It's just that part, instead of allowing the user to add code, it just comes with fields that the user need to fill, right? So just by clicking publish, sorry, I guess I did something wrong here. Let me just make sure. Oh yeah, I'm sorry. Add here this. Here we go. So as you can see here, the content got published, so I allowed Richard to be able to add that nice graph on the front page without writing any line of code. Okay. I also can allow Richard to edit this graph anytime, so he can come and say, I don't want it to be a pie chart, I want it to be horizontal bars. Click publish. So as you can see, he can actually add this at runtime and make it looks as a horizontal bar. The nice option also for Richard, anytime he wants to change the layout, he can go to the configuration tab. Let's say he wants now to be a 2-column layout, just click save, and now he can actually drag and drop and add this here. So now they can have two content looks next to each other. As you can see, very nice content, very nice graph. I didn't want to write any line of code for that. This template doesn't have any limit. You can add content template for anything. So I want to show you another example. So I have Liferay and Red Hat page. So we do have a partnership with Liferay and Red Hat. So I just created a page for this. And the content that you can see on the top here, this is actually based on a template. So the user, or what they need to do, choose the template, write the header, upload an image, write the text, and then Liferay will show it the way it looks here. So let me show you how it looks in the editing. So as you can see here, the user add the title, add the article header, and then add the article text, and then the template that they're using is to have image on the left. You can actually allow the business user to have different options. So I can say I don't want the image to be on the left, I want the image to be on the right. So I can choose this. And by doing this, I can come here and click publish. And now exactly the same content. I didn't change anything, but the template changed. So the template now shows the image on the right instead of on the left. So anytime you want to edit an image, anytime you want to have a very complex content and you don't write any code, you don't want to write any code, you can ask your developer to create a template for you, and you can reuse it multiple times, right? The last thing before jumping to the workflow is I would like to talk about the WYSIWYG editor. So since some clients prefer to have a WYSIWYG editor, we do provide the option. So we have a WYSIWYG editor application. You can add it. It doesn't have all the features for the other advanced WYSIWYG editors that we have. So here you can have the normal one. You can add your controls visible in front of you all the time, and you can use it. So if you prefer the old WYSIWYG editor, you still can have it with Liferay, right? So the next thing I would like to jump in is to use workflow, right? So in Liferay, when I go to the web content folder, I can actually define my web content repository to have kind of like folders, and I can define every folder to have certain content templates, and every content templates can have a specific workflow. So let me show you this here. So in my use case here, I build for Liferay and Red Hat page a folder, and inside that one I add all the content that you saw on Liferay and Red Hat page, right? So what I can do here, I can come to that folder, edit it, and once I edit that folder, I define that that folder can have only this content template, have basic web content, map, basic web content, title, image, text, and then content to graph. And here I can define for this specific web content which workflow they can use. So in this case, I just use for only the basic web content, which mean a content that they're not based on a template, to use single approval marketing workflow. So why I did this? Because basic web content, the marketing person has control to change the code, to change the look and feel, change the font. So I don't want my marketing associate to change this without being approved to go to the site. Templates doesn't give controls to the admin, to the marketing person, to change fonts, so there is no need to approve it. In my use case, I just allowed for the basic web content where marketing person can change the code to go through an approval from his manager. Okay, so let's see how that works. So I'm going back to my page. And as you can see here, I edited the top by changing the template without going through any workflow. But now I need to edit that part. And that part will require approval through a workflow. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to click edit this web content. And now I'm just going to edit this. So I'm going to just upload an image from my document repository. Because I have an image here. It's not in this folder, I'm sorry. Here we go. So let's say I want to add the Java logo on the top of this page. So I just added this Java logo on this page, and here I want to make this bold and then remove part of the page. Okay. Let's add any content new. Open source reader. So I add some text, change some text, and remove some text. And I'm gonna tell you why I did this. And now I'm just gonna click publish. And as you can see, nothing got published before. This is need to be approved first from Reacher manager, from Reacher's manager, before it get published to the site. So I'm going to log from the other browser. As Michelle. So Michelle, it's Reacher's manager. So and here, once Michelle logged on, she actually saw this notification, and she got this notification as an SMS on her phone. She got it also on her email, so she can click on this notification and tell her that Reacher sent you a web content to be approved. So what she can do, she can go to her workflow tasks, and she is gonna see that there is a new task assigned to her. So she can click here and say, assign this to me, or just keep it in my pending workflow and just update the due date, so I don't need to work on this. Remind me in a week or so to work on it. But just for now, she's gonna assign it to herself. She can add a comment, or she doesn't have to. So she can say, I will work on that now. Done. And now this workflow is under her queue. So she has that workflow now under her queue so she can actually view it. So she's going to click on this. And we do have a very nice feature here. And it's about how Michelle can see what's the difference that Richard did over this content. She can click on difference. And now Liferay will show her that this, compared between this version and the previous version, this content, you have this image got added, and also you have this new page, sorry, you have this new word got added, and this scalable architecture got removed. So anything in green got added, anything in red got removed. So she can actually view the difference between the new version and the current version, right? So now it looks good to her, so she can actually just close this, and she actually can collaborate with Richards over comments before this task flow get approved. So they can work together, collaborate together over workflow before it get published. So she can tag him, so she can say, Richards, thanks for the great work. Please change the colors, blah blah blah. Change, I'm sorry. Okay, so she can collaborate with him, and since she tagged him, he actually gonna receive a notification that your manager tagged you. You may need to do certain tasks. Okay, so I'm not gonna reply now because it's gonna add notification to the user. But let's say this is looks nice for Michelle, so she is ready to approve it. She can click on approval. Thanks, approved. Right. And by doing this, if I went back to the other browser, just refresh the page. Now I can see the new changes got uploaded to this page, and also Reacher received a notification that his submission got approved, and his manager told him thanks, approved. So everything got documented. All this workflow history is documented. So if any complex workflow you guys have, you want to get back to the auditing and see what happened and how people collaborate, all of that is saved inside Liferay, right? One last thing here before I actually jump to the content template and show you the content templates. I would like actually to show you the content versioning. So as you can see here, I add this version. Let's say I don't like this version. I want to roll back to an older one. So what I can do here, I can actually go back to the web content folder, and I can go to this Liferay DXP and this one. So I want to make sure this is the right one I'm looking on. So preview, not this one. I believe it is either this one. Yes. So this is the content. So what I can do is I can come here and say view history, and that show me all the history. So let's say I don't want the last one to be the one that is published. So I can come to the last one and say I'm going to delete the last one. I want to roll back to an older version. So just by deleting this version, so I have saved all the previous version, Liferay will roll back to the previous one. So going to the same page again, I don't see anymore the editing that Reacher did. So anytime you want to roll back to an older version, you can expire one version and enable the other one, and that's all out of the box. The last thing I have in this presentation is just to show you how template looks like. So in your web content, and this is usually a developer task, it's not for admin user. So admin user will just use that template as I was showing at the beginning of this demo. But for developers, they can actually come here and they can add something called structure. So structure is just to define the fields that the user need to fill, and then the template takes the content of this field and show it the way they want. So I'm gonna go to the structure tab, and here I have the structure of content to graph. So I can actually okay, since Breacher doesn't have permission to view what's inside it, so I guess Michelle, his manager, has. So let me see what Michelle can do here. Let me go here to the site. If not, if she doesn't have access to, I'm gonna log in as Bruno, which is the IT administrator. Yes, she does have access to change this. So I'm gonna edit the content. And as you can see here, I defined just the user to add the graph type and here to define the slides. So anytime they can add a new slides here, I can add more fields by drag and drop new fields to my template. So after I define the fields that I want in my template, I can create the fields that I define in my structure. I can create my template. So if I want to the content to graph and said manage template, I can actually edit this one. And here actually it has all the code that I created to take the data from the fields and make it looks like the graph that you guys saw at the beginning of this demo. I finished the first part of the content management system. Please view the third video so you can see the second part of content management system. Thank you.